Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Stubs and Popcorn. I am Frank.
And I'm Peter.
He's Peter, and today we're going to be talking about Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson.
Oh.
She's fantastic. Love her quite a bit.
Yes.
What are we talking about at the end, though?
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
We may have hinted at different times, but it's a question. We don't really talk about the genre much. Is there a musical out there that's your favorite?
Oh.
What is your favorite
You know what?
musical?
I'm not a huge musicals guy, but I do have an
not so
answer
much
for that.
either.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
good.
All right, good. Emma Thompson. So,
Emma Thompson.
Why don't you go?
Okay.
Start it off.
Emma Thompson. She can be a force of nature sometimes.
Yes,
she
can.
really can be. Tremendous. My first pick is going to be Howard's End.
Okay.
I want to say I mentioned this for Helena Bonham Carter, who plays her sister in the movie. Emma Thompson's got wonderful support between Anthony Hopkins and Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah.
But make no mistake about it, this is her movie.
And she's like perfectly sort of stuck in the middle
stuck
of
in
those
the
two
middle.
characters.
Exactly.
It's really,
she tries to sympathize with one and then sympathize with the other, trying to bridge the
loyalties and love.
Exactly.
And it's just, it really is. It's so well done.
And she's a fine actor who is in a wonderful Merchant in Ivory movie. Her problem is that she's trapped in a time period where she's middle class, we'll say. She's like in the middle there, because there's definitely that lower class of people where her sister's trying to help out another group of people.
But she's not but they're not like upper up. They're not super rich, but they're pretty well off.
Husband or husband-to-be is better off.
Right.
And he's better off because of his first wife, who he's a widower. And we know what's going on. She doesn't know what's going on, but because she is this kind-hearted soul, a good friend, a good listener, she is bequeathed in a last-minute codicil to her will from one of the Redgrave sisters. I want to say Vanessa probably, but anyway, she's given this wonderful piece of property called Howard's End. It's this home, and it's just it's been in the deceased woman's family, and it has so much meaning. But the forces to be are not going to allow her to get it. She doesn't even know about it. And then eventually, because she does become the second wife of this man, she does become the lady of the house. Right. And it's a E.M. Forster story. It's just
she's got
there's shades in there, and
there's the roles of men and women, and
the class thing too.
And she's good-hearted enough.
What you can't do.
Yeah, she's good-hearted enough to sort of sympathize with her younger sister's projects.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And wanting to do sort of the charitable thing. Okay, but she's also mature enough to know that, look, this is one's place, and one has a husband, and like that. And she's sort of torn between that. And Emma Thompson does this amazing job of just sort of pulling it, of showing that pull between both worlds.
Yeah, and
it's quite good.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And when you watch it, I saw it X amount of years ago, but when you see it again, and it's been a little bit, you're like,
oh yeah,
fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie's great, the performance is great, but her performance is really something to behold.
Yeah.
So that's way out
All right.
there.
What's the next one?
Second one was a movie that was actually, it was an HBO one, so technically I guess came out on TV, but it's the movie. It had been shown.
Well, we've
different things.
jumped
No,
back
yeah,
and forth.
we've
genre,
changed
like,
anyway.
You know, streaming
Yeah.
and TV, and
So
and it counts.
a movie that came out in 2001, and it's called Wit.
Yeah.
WIT, wit, that kind of wit. And she is on screen 100% of the time in this movie. Mike Nichols is the director, and she and Mike Nichols wrote the teleplay from an existing play. And it's incredible because there's this woman who is this very intelligent, but very exacting professor of medieval poetry. And as dry as that sounds, that's kind of how she is.
Yeah.
And to the point when, you know, you go, has this woman lived a life? Does this woman have friends? And now she's given this pretty much a death sentence of stage 4 ovarian cancer. And she'll do little soliloquies, monologues. She breaks the fourth wall. She's in there, and most of the time, she's sick in a hospital bed. Different stages going with the most powerful course of treatment, chemotherapy that was recommended, strongly recommended to her. And she's the type of person who's always had complete faith in herself and knows that she can do it. And it's just wreaking havoc with her physically.
Yeah, and she just doesn't have any
she's
control
she's
over the
still
situation.
she's still sharp, but it just gives her more time to think.
Yeah.
And you know, things are in retrospect. She goes back to her teaching days, back to her as a student, but back to her as a girl. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's a difficult movie to watch. It is what it is, and boy, if it's tough to watch.
Yeah.
But what she does with it, incredible. So that's up there. Wit.
All right. What's next?
Third one is really one of my. It's become one of my more favorite recent movies, and I mentioned it for Tom Hanks, but Saving Mr. Banks.
Yeah.
And she is Emma Thompson is P.L. Travers' pen name for the author of the Mary Poppins series of books.
Yeah, talk about someone who's just kind of like exacting. Okay?
She's exacting. She
doesn't
is
trust Disney at all.
She's got a very wry sense of humor, if you can call it that, because most of the time she has no patience for people, and with anybody else, she does appear to be humorless.
Yeah.
She appreciates her wit and her brevity and that sort of stuff, but she doesn't like playing games with people. She doesn't even like to be polite. She is civil.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to let go of her baby. This is her baby.
Yeah.
She has no other family, and it's this struggle. It's not just a struggle between P.L. Travers and Walt Disney. It's this internal struggle. She's got to figure out, because she does need money. What is she going to do? Does she let go? I mean, Walt Disney had been trying. We don't see it. It's referenced. He had been trying for 20 years just to talk to her.
Yeah.
And it's like no. And then it's gotten a little closer, and then she finally comes to the U.S. But she's fighting these little demons from her past and her parents, and a lot of baggage that she's still dealing with at, say, 60 plus years. And
Yeah, no, great
I
performance. She's
really,
great.
really enjoy it. I mean, you see this person, this hard-edged person who just has a baby, has this project, and that's about it. She just doesn't want anything to
Yeah.
ruin that at all. And but she has to figure out what she's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good one. It's a good one.
Those
all
are
right,
my
those are good
those
three.
are my three Emma Thompson.
My three, I would probably start with Love Actually.
Yep.
Love Actually, this movie gets so much crap because it's so sentimental and people say there are too many stories going on. You can get rid of this one, get rid of that one. I love this movie.
I know you do.
There's so many fun things
And
going on.
there's some
in
great
this
reasons
movie.
to
There
love
really
the
is.
book. Oh yeah.
And there's what I love about her performance is in this her little storyline. Like her husband is like this close to pulling the trigger on cheating, and she kind of sort of finds out.
Yeah.
And she's hurt. There's that scene where she opens up her present and it's not the necklace that she thinks it is.
Yeah.
And it's like a Joni Mitchell CD or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can just see her face. And it's that we've been married for so long and you're in this thing with this person and there's betrayal and there's a feeling of loss. And the way it just washes over her, and then she just has to like kind of shake herself out of her own stuff, her own sorrow, her own anger, and like, okay, let's get the kids to the pageant, you know, and just, and then she says that one little line to him about, she says one little thing, and it's just it shows vulnerability, and it shows strength, and she just. It's one of the great things about that movie that I think gets lost in all of the other sort of like silliness in that movie,
because
but
there is a certain awareness within a close relationship.
Yeah, and it's just such a real thing. And in that, I remember seeing it for the first time. It's just like, oh, it's a fun little light movie. You got Bill Nye singing.
It's a breezy romp.
Yeah, and then there's he's prime minister dancing around. It's just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I
guess
and
everybody's life isn't perfect.
So this movie has got all these great little pockets of that sort of stuff, and it's fantastic. My next one would be Much Ado About Nothing.
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh directs, and and he and her, and I think they were together at this time.
I'm pretty sure they were. Yeah.
Just really just one of those, like, you think, oh, Shakespeare, this is going to be kind of dry. They just make it so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like watching Shakespeare movies, they're either super dry and difficult, or they're like really fun and well done.
And you're like,
and I got to tell you, like my two favorite filmed portrayals of Shakespeare works are Much Ado About Nothing, and when Moonlighting did Taming of the Shrew. That was so great. But her, quipping back and forth with Kenneth Branagh, it's just so much fun because it's smart and it's funny and it's playful and it's just so damn delightful. And everyone in that is having a great time. It's so good.
There was a great, I want to say revival, because Shakespeare has never gone away. But when you get somebody who is capable but just big fans, and you had both Kevin Branagh, who was Kenneth Branagh, who was just immersed in this, Emma Thompson just immersed in this culture, and they both love it, but they're a couple in real life at the time, and you could see, like, this is just a great project.
It was so much fun. I remember sitting in the theater loving that and just giddy watching it. So, and then my third one is a very little known movie called Peter's Friends.
That's an earlier one.
That's way it's like early 90s, and it was written by Rita Rudnick, who's an American stand-up comedian.
Yeah, stand-up.
And but it is, I always describe this as like the British Big Chill, because it's all these university friends that get together, and all British people are in it. Like Hugh Laurie's in it, it's like Stephen Fry is in it, Imelda Staunton's in it. Like everybody.
If you're the right
like,
age, you're gonna be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they were so much fun to watch, and it's just a delightful movie, and just seeing all these people who have sort of come up together and they're all acting together when they're young and doing this thing. It was just a great movie, and she's really great in it. And it's just a really, really fun movie that I can never find anywhere. Like, I don't think it's streaming anywhere. But it's great. And the soundtrack it's in my top 10 soundtracks. So really, really, really great. So those are my three Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson just comes from this wonderful tradition of British actors that you start in the theater. Many times it is centered around Shakespeare. You just do this classic stuff. You're on the stage doing anything.
And it's the same dozen people.
You're on TV and you're doing movies, and like that's what she's
you're
still doing. All three of them.
If you're acting and you're in Britain, you're just you're going to be in a Harry Potter movie.
Exactly.
So, and she's great in that too.
She writes, she acts, she directs.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, my favorite musical.
Yeah, I asked.
Hands down, no question, and I am not a musicals guy.
Yeah.
Because for me, typically, like musicals, the story's going, and let's break out into song and interrupt the narrative, and this is annoying because now I have to spend time and watch these people sing and dance. But in Chicago.
Okay.
I loved that movie so much. I think I've told it before. I when I worked in a movie theater, I watched.
You used to work in a movie theater?
I used to work in a movie theater. So
you ever mentioned
I watched it, and then I was the last show of the night. I went back up to the booth, rethreaded it, and watched it
Just
again.
for yourself.
Loved it because it was great because it didn't interrupt the narrative. It's all going on in Roxy's head because she's crazy, and but I love that movie. I love that soundtrack. So fantastic. That is my favorite musical. I don't have a lot of others that I'd be just like,
I know
So what about you?
I would have to say, hands down for me, it's West Side Story. And same thing. I'm not a big musical fan. I mean, I will watch them.
That's right. I learned everything I know about knife fighting from.
You said it. You
West
said
Side
it.
Story,
I learned everything about street fight, gang warfare. Basically, has to break out into dance.
Yeah, exactly.
We've all been taught that.
We've all been taught
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. And there's you could make the case for a musical Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is a little skewed, but it's definitely still a musical.
I mean, and I like it. I'm a big fan. But like, I could sit and like watch Chicago like twice in a row, and then spend probably the next like 4 or 5 days like
listening to the soundtrack. Oh yeah, I'm the same way with West Side Story. When it does happen, that's in my head. And
So, all right. So, who's up next?
I don't know.
Do the bug.
We will find out.
What is happening next here. Okay, cool. Oh, that'll be super fun. Yeah, that's fun. Yep. So that'll be a good one. Speaking of musical. So, all right, folks. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Check out the podcast as well if you can't stand our faces that are really built for radio. So, and we'll see you next time.
Take it.